Welcome to Season 1 of the PMO Community Podcast series. I am Aina Alive, and I'm excited to guide you through another thought-provoking challenge, which is a part of our unique book writing conversation focused on PMO leadership and value-driven project management. Today, I am honored to be joined by Massimo Pirozzi, a renowned expert in project management and a key contributor to our book writing challenge. Massimo is an author of the article Adding Value Beyond Project Delivery, where he emphasizes the importance of value-based approach in project management. His work redefines project success by focusing on creating long-term value that aligns with both stakeholders' expectations and organizational strategy. Massimo has decided and dedicated his career to exploring how value creation can be the true measure of project success. His innovative perspective challenges traditional project management by highlighting the critical role of stakeholder engagement, perceived value, and the need for key performance indicators that go beyond deliverables to measure real outcomes. In today's episode, we'll be exploring what inspired Massimo to focus on value beyond project delivery and how this approach redefines project success. Also, we will talk about how project managers can effectively manage diverse stakeholders' expectations to align with business objectives. Then we will move on to the essential role that modern PMOs play in supporting a value-driven approach and improving project outcomes. We will also talk about the significance of using KPIs to measure perceived and delivered value in projects and real-world examples of how value-based project management has enhanced success rates and reduced project failures. Stay tuned as Massimo shares his profound insights on how modern organizations can improve project success by focusing on the value delivered beyond the final product. And don't forget to follow our book writing challenge as we bring together thought leaders from around the world to reshape the future of PMO leadership. And follow us on social media such as LinkedIn, Spotify, Podbeans, Apple Podcast to stay updated on upcoming episodes and continue exploring the future of project management. Hi, Massimo. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Hi, thank you, too.
Awesome. So let's get it started. I really enjoyed your article. And my first question is, what inspired you to write about the concept of value beyond project delivery? And why do you think it's crucial for modern project management?
Well, the awareness that projects, for those who commission and finance them, are operational means to achieve their strategic goals. And this happens if and only if the projects succeed in creating and exchanging value with their stakeholders. Too often, for those of us who carry them out, the perspective is just that projects end when they achieve their operational objectives, while, for our clients and investors, that is just the beginning. The deliverables must become outputs, then outcomes, and finally achieve the benefits foreseen in the strategies.
Yeah, it's a very interesting concept, and I believe that we need to have more conversation about value because, like, many times, when people are working on the project, it's kind of like climbing the ladder as soon as possible to get to the top. And then when you get to the top, appears that you climbed the wrong ladder and there is no value. So I believe it's great that we are having this conversation. Now, another question regarding value-based project management is Could you elaborate on how this approach of value-based project management differs from traditional project management, or if it's not, what emphasis it provides to project managers?
Yes, please allow me to say that rather than being different, the value-based approach integrates the traditional approach by considering among the project success criteria, well, as it always should be, though often it is not, fundamental aspects for their success, such as perceived value and stakeholder satisfaction.
And you also mentioned in the article that the stakeholders often have different perception of the value. So how can project managers effectively manage and align these different expectations to ensure that project is still running to success?
As you rightly point out, expectations are subjective. However, let me emphasize that project requirements are subjective too, mainly because they are usually formalized to represent a technical mediation between different expectations, primarily those of the clients and of the providers. Okay? Expectations are not always known or evident. They need to be brought to light with a systemic approach, then harmonized with each other and with the requirements, particularly resolving misunderstandings, if any. And if conflict persists, priorities must be agreed upon. Frankly, I don't believe there are alternatives.
So maybe can you recommend like any techniques on how to agree on the priorities? Because normally it's one of the biggest challenges in all of the organizations.
Well, priorities we have to assess priorities together with the customers, basically, but also within our organization. We say that in order to initiate a project, we need to have access not only to the contract or the statement of work, but also to the business case. This is a topic issue. The success criteria are always contained in the business case. For instance, the stakeholder satisfaction is quite never present in the contracts, but is a success criteria. Generally is the main success criteria. So, in other words, for sure there are conflicts between expectations. And conflict between expectations that may be unknown and requirements that formally are written, but we perfectly know that people may understand different things in reading the same requirement, especially if we are talking of complex issues or immaterial issues as software, no? People may understand different things. And the result is that 40% projects have scope creeps. And there are 12 years that this happens. Huh? So the conflict is normal. So let's understand if there are misunderstandings, okay? After that, we have to find a way, okay? The way has to be based on priorities. We go to our sponsor, project sponsor. We go to our customer and says, okay, you have these diverse, okay, expectations. The conflict. Which comes first?
And you also mentioned that 40% of the projects has scope creep. And in your article, you mentioned that the 30%.
Well, this is PMI's data. I mean, it's not my data. Okay, PMI's data, yes.
Yeah, we won't take you on the record with that. It's all PMI. So if somebody wants to verify, go to PMI. And also, you mentioned that 30% of projects fail to meet their original goals. So in your opinion, how can the project team improve their project structuring and planning to avoid it and to make maybe 25% of failure?
Well, we need to pay much more attention to a more accurate definition in the initiation processes, which is perhaps the most important point. Okay? You know, we know, I think, everything about planning. Okay? I met groups, academic groups that are 40 years that are working how to find the optimal path. But if we plan wrong things, this is the issue we have, okay? The first goal we have is a better definition of what we have to do. Because in at least half of the projects that don't go well, there is a problem of misunderstandings about requirements, expectation, or even the project goal. Okay, almost 30% they say project goal. You don't have a project vision. So, first, more accurate definition initiation processes. Then, more careful execution with focus on people. And also on identifying apparently small issues. We say the ability to amplify weak signals, okay? That can, especially when we have the network, very rapidly increase and multiply. And also control that include, in the way we can, the other KPIs, in addition to add value. Add value is great, but it's not sufficient. It doesn't care about the stakeholder satisfaction, for instance, or the perceived value. We have to add other KPIs.
Yes, you mentioned KPIs, and I will stick with that. So you are referring to KPIs, which means key performance indicators.
Sure.
Managing and perceived delivered value. So could you provide some examples of these KPIs, key performance indicators, that are particularly effective in measuring these aspects of a project?
Yes, of course, although we do not mention it as a KPI, earned value is a KPI also, cost performance indicator is a KPI, schedule performance indicator is a KPI. In addition, in my experience, of course, the first one are the measures of stakeholder satisfaction. Just systematically is important, okay? Asking to, for instance, the customer, in your opinion, how are we going? Just in this way, okay? Because if they say quite well, no, if they say not well, okay, let's talk about it, okay? It's important to know that as early as possible. If they say well, in this case, you cannot, after 1 year, tell me something about the projects, you don't like the project. There is 1 year that every month you say, okay, you are on the right path. Okay, so first are measures of stakeholder satisfaction, also if they are subjective. But it's great to have them, no? Very much better to have them in respect of not to have. Then each project has its specific business and or social KPIs. Social sometimes are not very well considered, but are extremely important. The issue is that these KPIs are normally used not in the project life cycle, but in the product service life cycle. So after the project is completed, they are used to measure the result of the project performances. Okay, so but they have the advantage that usually they share the same language of the users. Okay, and then it would be important to use them also if at perceived level during also the project life cycles. I am, for instance, building an infrastructure, a public infrastructure. When I am when the work is in progress, I ask, according to your opinion, okay? Are the things going well? Is what you do expect? Okay? This is very important, very important. Also because it is expressed in the language of the users. And if we have the users on our side, okay, of course, also the customer must take this into account.
I like the phrase, if we are having a user on our side. If we don't, it will cause way more problems.
If we don't.
And because our book is about PMO, so let's bring the PMO to our conversation. And Massimo, what do you think, what role does the PMO play in enhancing the value delivered by project, and how can modern PMOs adapt to support the value-driven approach?
Well, in my opinion, PMO can have a very important role. A very important role because, for instance, we know that there are some problem in the project management community to accept the value-based approach. Okay. It has been at least 15 years since great authors like Herzen and Archibald introduced the importance of the concept of value. Value has even been included today in the international standards. But yet the project management community still struggles to recognize it, perhaps because it requires high-level skills. Okay. Therefore, concentrating value-based competencies in the PMO seems, in my opinion, a feasible and optimal solution. Establishing a point of reference for value-based project management in every organization. Okay. This could represent an excellent opportunity to guide and support organizations in applying value-based project management. We have problems on that. So better concentrate the high-level competencies. This is what I think.
Yeah, that's a great thoughts which are aligned with mine. And as we started talking about organizations and kind of like bringing a real life conversation. So can you provide any real world examples where value-based project management approach significantly improved project outcomes? Or maybe not significantly, but at least improved them somehow.
No, significantly. In Italy, we have the San Giorgio Bridge in Genoa that was built following a tragedy of the collapse of a previous bridge. Okay.
Oh, that's
And the
interesting.
San Giorgio Bridge is a highway viaduct that crosses a stream and the neighborhoods of, but within the city of Genoa. Okay, so exactly within, not outside, within the city of Genoa. It's about 1 kilometer long. So there are several problems. And in this case, from one side, of course, there was excellence in construction in a very short time, working 24 hours a day, with project management, everything. But this integrated with a great focus on the social value for the citizens. For example, citizens were able to share both the project design, they put the model in television, okay? Say, you like it, no? Yes, no, why, no, okay?
Mhm.
And also its progress, okay? Progress. During the work, there was 3 enormous beams, okay, of green, white, and red light, that are the colors of the Italian flag, that were projected onto the bridge, okay? So people, night and day, were able to follow visually the progress of their bridge. And therefore also, and then also some thematic urban park has been created. So there was a deep attention to the social aspects, not only, let's say, to the technical aspects. Of course, it was the viaduct of a highway, so supporting a certain traffic, whatever. But in addition, since it was, and it is in the city, there was this aspect, this attention to the social aspect and to the stakeholder satisfaction. Because although this was a utility of, let's say, also not regional and national interest, was managed as an utility of the citizens. I think this is a good example of, was a very good example of value-based project management approach.
Yeah, this is a great example. And looking forward, Massimo, how do you see the value-based project management evolving in the next few years, and also especially with the increasing complexity of the project? And how do you think the role of the chief project officer might help in delivering value?
Well, again, being very direct, value-based project management is not an alternative, it is necessity for the success of complex projects. No way, okay? It's a necessity. So, in this, the role of a chief project officer could represent an excellent opportunity to guide and support organization in applying it, because we see that there are problems, okay? Meaning that distributing this type of skill in the project management community is difficult for some reasons. And I see this also, there are several organizations that I know with a good level of maturity in project management, and quite always, when there is a high level of maturity in project management, exists a PMO, okay? And so they use PMOs not only for maybe all the legal and procedural aspects, that is important to have a focal point on that, but also in order to proceed in this direction, in the direction of taking care of the people, of the stakeholders that are the main success factor of each project.
Thank you, Massimo, for bringing value on the topic of value.
Thank you, Aina.
And thank you all for tuning in to the PMO Community Podcast for this enlightening discussion with Massimo Pirozzi. And a special thanks to our volunteers at the PMO Community Podcast for making this episode possible. And stay tuned for more captivating insights and interviews in our upcoming episodes. And don't forget to follow us on social media such as LinkedIn, Podcast, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcast to stay updated. If you find this episode valuable, please remember to like and share it. And feel free to reach out to me, Aina Alive, on LinkedIn with any questions or requests. And for all of the latest updates, make sure to follow us on our social media. Stay tuned.